Hi, morning everyone. Well, it is morning for me. Whenever you're watching this, happy day to you. Today we'll do some drawing and we'll talk about emotions and how do they relate to spirituality or maybe perhaps simple psychology. Depends how you look at it. Maybe we can strip the layers of mysticism from it or maybe you can do it on your own time. But we'll do some old school drawing. That's why I have this analog drawing device. Fascinating stuff. Very good battery life. Great roaming charges, and you switch it on like that. Amazing. Anyway, let's switch on to our analog drawing page here. Fascinating. See, I do like this, and it leaves a trace. Amazing stuff. Okay, so everybody knows by now Hawkins' emotion scale. By now, did I ever talk about it actually? So maybe I'll explain it in some other video. Today I'll just assume that you already know your stuff here. So there's a scale of emotions, right? Different emotions. No, not emotions. State of consciousness. But they are manifested with emotions. So if you are in a state of consciousness, joy, which is somewhere around the top, let's just say joy here with a capital J, oh no, lowercase j, then you're more prone to reacting with joy. You know, you crash your car and you go like, hey, that's so cool, I survived. Somewhere in the middle at level 200, because it goes all the way to 100, and it's kind of a logarithmic scale, right? All the way to 1000. 200 in the middle. Well, not strictly mathematically speaking logarithmic, but you know what I mean. We have courage. Actually, above 100. Whatever happens above 100. Courage. Right. The most common emotion that we would speak about is anger. At about 150-ish, and like the rock bottom, well, there's apathy at no, apathy is actually 50 here. This shame at 20. When we there's a whole range of these, and maybe I'll actually talk to it at some other video. I don't want to cut this one. I just want to get it off my chest, whatever I want to whatever I want to convey here. So as we go through life, we use scripts to relate to reality, right? Some scripts are uploaded by our parents, by our schools, by our religious leaders. What else? Well, any sort of authority, right? In education or psychology or sociology, we would call it habitus. So we taught to react in a certain way to a certain thing. You know, car crash, yeah, very bad. Even if it's only bent fender, we're supposed to react with anger, right? That's how we taught. This is some sort of loss. We should if somebody dies, we should react with sadness. There's a whole protocol for that, you know, for being sorry for somebody's loss, etc. So let's talk about something that's perfectly benign, and again we reacted to in multitude of ways. Imagine somebody is cutting you off in a queue. The way I usually approach it, I know that I have plenty of scripts that I could react with. I could be angry here. So let's say this is our queue cutoff experience. What I could probably be afraid here, like, oh no, there's how can you be afraid when you cut off? Okay, I don't have a script for that. I could feel guilty that must be something wrong with me. I must be looking like a victim, easy to take advantage of, you know, that sort of stuff. I could probably step up and say, courageously, like, hang on a minute, I was here. No anger, no belligerent emotions. Just like, no, dude, move. I'm here. In my case, it's pretty much, well, no, nowadays it's always like, I have time. He's probably in a hurry. Let him have it. It's like, no, I'm giving it from my heart to yours. Have this place in the queue. It's fine. So, different scripts, right? And you can recognize what state of consciousness you are the moment the experience happens, and before your conscious mind starts analyzing it, I just realized I'm advertising 23ink.ie. Yeah, I bought an ink from these guys. There was a 1 in front, and it didn't work with my printer. My printer said this cartridge is not recognized as an original Canon cartridge, so perhaps it's not the best advertisement. Sorry about that. If you went there and bought your cartridge, it's not on me. It's your soul choosing its experiences. No, it's not. I need to make a video about destiny and soul plans and all that. This is a delicious subject. Okay. Going. So we have plenty of scripts to react to a Q scenario, right? We have not fear, but anger, yes, and courage, and maybe you're happy for somebody. But the interesting part is a cross-section of your experiences, of what you can achieve as human experiences. Car crashes, probably they're not very joyful to many people. Some experiences can be you experience it here and here and here. Think of composing perfume. There's base note, there's the middle note, and whatever. I have no idea how it works. But there are multiple experiences at once. So at some stage, you may ask yourself, is vinegar sweet? Is this experience joyful or traumatic? You may have, lost a limb, and all there's left is you're laughing at yourself because the situation is absurd. Right. So you may find yourself experiencing multiple of these states at once in some cases. The reason for that is we have more than one brain, so to speak. Oh dear, that's a weird way to say it. Do you ever have an internal dialogue with yourself, and the parts of your personality are actually contradicting each other? One of them says, no, you have to go left. The other says, no, right is the only right way to go. Whenever you're procrastinating, one part of your personality says, well, you really should be working right now. The other one says, just have another sip. One more tea cannot hurt. Something like that may happen here. All these scripts can fire simultaneously. But one voice will come to the surface. That's where you can anchor yourself as a state of consciousness. Yep, that's a good one. Alrighty. Scripts, reacting, and if you take some sort of average out of all these, you can average out here and say, all right, so I'm in sort of neutrality. Neutrality would be probably here, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking at my notes there. So there's no good or bad. You may find yourself somewhere below the waterline, which is 200, right? Courage is above 200. Below waterline, I just called it waterline, which is kind of cool, because below that, you don't have enough energy to breathe. You have to get energy from elsewhere. From other people, from organizations, institutions, gods, and angels, that sort of stuff. And when you're above, you have enough energy to spare, actually. There's no point in saving energy. There's no bank to save energy. Because the more you try to hold on to it, it's like holding your breath. The mine! Right? So So you have enough to share, right? If you're above, you can actually pull plenty of people with you, elevate them to the next level. But the less you have, there are some times in one's life where it seems to be impossible to get up from it. And this is a tough experience. It's from soul's level, it's just as interesting experience as any other. But that's something really tough for a human. Okay, I was going to talk to you about something, and my notes don't include it. So we have different levels of emotions. With our median, we can be experiencing ups and downs, different, kind of sinusoidal fluctuations of our states, and you don't have to go through all of these. Those scripts fire depending on how much energy you have. One trick, this is probably what yoga tries to do to people. Whenever you stretch, whenever your body is active and open, it's very difficult to remain in those low energy states. It's just energy, no matter how thin the stream is, it just starts flowing, and it's a good way to recharge yourself. It's a good way for low energy scripts to stop firing for a moment. All right, if you're feeling down. Okay. I know, compatibility of entities. That's what I wanted to talk about. I should make some sort of marker. What time is it? It's 12 minutes in. Wow, that's a long video. Compatibility of... Let me just write it. Compatibility. So let's say you meet another entity in your journey. Let's say a human being. But this human being is kind of low. The best it gets is sometimes he's happy a bit when it's his birthday. Sometimes he stands up for himself, but usually he's just angry at others because he's so ashamed about being guilty. Nothing to laugh about. It's just plenty of scripts to write through, right? Plenty of inhibiting script. I keep saying scripts. So how a person like that could marry somebody that's usually above water level? We say opposites attract. Do we say that? Do we still say that opposites attract? It's one of those silly inhibiting scripts, I guess. So what happens is, if people overlap, right, another person overlaps here, they can click on this level. But if this person spends most of her life, let's say, on this level, and it's just a fluctuation of the sinusoid, and don't get me wrong, those fluctuations are not intense, they are emotionally meaningful. Because if you spend your life on this level, and then all of a sudden you find yourself here, this is a moment where you feel you're alive, not necessarily... I understand this can be traumatic to feel much, much worse than you usually are, but it also feels meaningful, if that makes sense. It's like variety is the spice of life. When you're kind of Buddha consciousness, there is a bit of a craving to experience something from the bottom, but you don't remember how to do that. It's like... even on lower levels, you start forgetting how to be afraid, for example, because everything will be alright, right? Even if you're running away from a dangerous animal, it's not like, oh God, I'm gonna die, I'm so afraid. This is so exciting, no way this is happening. Okay, Okay, I'm going to talk about it in a moment too. Links between states. Okay, so they find themselves compatible at this level, right? But these two cannot talk to one another. So either this person drags this one down, or this person drags this one up. And this is a painful experience either way. Because if this one talks in language of anger most of the time, and this one talks in language of joy, the communication may happen only when they're... It's like somebody works nights, somebody works days, and they see each other only for 2 hours a day, right? It's a relationship that's not doomed to fail, but doomed to cause a lot of friction. Okay. And similar stuff happens in the spirit realm. So we may think that okay, I don't want to use names, but let's just say an entity. Some sort of spirit entity, alright? Names, they would like that. Is, appears itself as something super bright and loving and joyful and just radiating this energy. But they can have other scripts as well. These are complex beings. They have this very strong dominating node where they reside for 80% of time, but the rest, I like to see everything as a piece of computer code, right? But the rest, for example, they will respond very aggressively to a kitten being hurt, something like that, something that's very true to their essence happening. Suddenly their face changes into anger. That's one of those things that you need to experience to appreciate. So this person that experiences joy can easily interface with this entity. They're on the same operational altitude. However, this person will not see something that consists mainly of anger and feeds on fear. A probably less bright entity when it comes to their appearance. Right? They could experience this kind of emotional bottom, and then this entity could try to feed off of this one, right? Kind of feed these emotions and drag these down. You know what I mean? Otherwise, so sometimes people ask me, how to get rid of a spirit from my house. Or, stuff like that. The problem with it is you see reality as something that happens objectively. So if a spirit moves something on the table, you may, react probably somewhere here because you're not prepared for this to happen, right? It defies the laws of what you're used to. However, if you're this person, if you don't go below 200 in your state of consciousness, you won't even see that something moved. Because that object moving on the table is an intention. It doesn't exist until it's observed within its frequency. That's a good one. It doesn't exist until it's observed within its frequency. Boom. So this one will not see the thing move. Everybody will be out of the room. Everybody like that. Only the person that's afraid will be in the room. And only then this object can manifest. It sounds like I'm blaming it on the poor person that's really comfortable living in fear. But that's how you attract those energies, right? Something feeds off fear and you're really good at radiating fear, it will come to you. these can also come to light because they're really starved for light. All right, something here, something that really resides in fear and guilt. I'm not naming any religions that feed on fear and guilt. Think of, they can manifest themselves so strongly that an entity, that a human being that's here may still see it, but they won't see it as fear and guilt. They will see somebody really sad that needs help. And usually what happens is, I'm not going to give you help because you need to figure it out yourself. If I give you help, you won't be able to go through that path. And next time you trip over, your script will be to look for somebody to give you help. Anyway, it does happen. It's like tasting a dish from your childhood. Something that you have not eaten for 20 years, 30, and then all of a sudden the flavor comes back. When an entity from a lower kind of frequency tries to interface with somebody that's on higher frequency, it's like a shadow of emotion. You understand this, but you can't really experience it because you already uninstalled those scripts. It's like, how can you be afraid of those things again? Oh, it's really trying, and you can say, look, you're probably looking for light, so it's perfectly okay, if you come closer. But maybe you're not ready, so it's your thing. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of anything. All right, compatibility between states, links between states. I should talk about this now, or maybe I should move it to a different video. So that's artwork. I should really frame it and put it on a wall. These fellas. I would need to print these out and talk to these on a separate piece of paper, PowerPoint. Tell you what, look for it yourself. States of Consciousness by Hawkins. All right, if you haven't heard of these, and look through these and try to figure out yourself. That's a bit of homework. Which ones are linked? One of the links I discovered very, very early on was, don't get afraid, get angry. So fear and anger are actually two sides of the same coin. So there's a link between these. There's one more state between these, but let's just say, yeah, that there's a link between them. Shame and pride are two sides of the same coin. Shame is there at the very bottom, pride is a bit higher. But it's very easy to fall from pride to shame. These are interlinked, two sides of the same coin. It's like light and dark. You cannot experience one if you're not really good at the other. Now, anger and courage are two sides of the same coin. So when you're feeling angry, it's very easy to start feeling courageous instead. All right, so have a look at these and try to figure out which ones link. It's a pretty rewarding exercise in deconstructing your own scripts. You may find that there we go. Oh, my hair is almost dry. You may find this super enlightening, and next time you experience fear, you will be able still run away from a dangerous animal, or maybe attack it back. Maybe consider, maybe I can stand up for myself. And maybe this anger will evaporate when you realize that there's no need to be angry. Just, face the situation and stand up. Alright, long video, 26 minutes. If you survived until now watching me, listening to me, I hope this was useful. So, thanks a lot, and see you next time.